Maybe, are they there? Yeah. I think one of them is probably that kid's brother.
Good evening, guys. Welcome back to Fourth Estate Live. We're back in the broadcast studio with none other than Gary Haugen. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
We saw you on the stage earlier with Miriam. How'd she do?
I thought she was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
She made me look pretty good, I thought. I mean, she had a struggle there, but I thought she pulled that off.
I thought you complimented each other pretty well.
Don't you think? Yeah.
And I saw a photo that she put up on Instagram of you two hanging out. And
yeah, oh yeah. It was a good time.
Very casual.
You've met before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we go way back. Mary and I would probably like later this afternoon.
Yeah, it was like 7:30 this morning.
Yeah, it goes way back.
Yeah.
I felt like we really brought it together this afternoon.
So for everyone who is watching, get on your Twitter, and if you have any questions for Gary, please hashtag Fourth Estate Live. We'll answer them right now. And we also have Lisa Dugan here. Come on over. Come on, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa Dugan.
So Lisa, if you guys were watching the other night, is responsible for our citizen wing of Invisible Children, as well as working with Resolve.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, she's a champ. But we wanted to ask you, starting off, this is not your first IC event, and we're honored to have you back. What keeps you coming back?
I learn a lot, and I'm inspired. I just was in touch with Jason and Ben. I just asked, hey, can I just sneak in and just hang out and just watch? Because I learned so much from how it is that you all communicate so effectively about just hard things in the world in ways that are not paralyzing, they're not alienating, and actually get people involved. And we likewise are interested in mobilizing people in the struggle for justice in the world, and we learn a lot from you all in that. And also, I am inspired because when you're sort of on the front lines in the struggle for justice, what you want to see is that there's some troops coming behind you. And at IJM, at International Justice Mission, we feel like we sort of put a little beachhead out there in the struggle for justice, and we just really want to know the next generation is coming. So I can see those waves of young people coming to the struggle, and that just really gladdens my heart.
They've been pretty excited this entire weekend. I think the cool thing for me is the whole goal of the summit was to really equip them with tools to go out, pretty much shape justice the way they see it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to encounter some roadblocks. The fight for justice is not an easy road to walk. What's some advice for getting through those stumbling blocks?
Yeah, I think first of all is to anticipate you're going to have them. That's the first one. Not to imagine that you're going to go from the sort of euphoric time of encouragement, it's all just going to be easy sailing from here. No, this is a fight. This is a struggle. So it's going to be hard, number one. Number two is in those moments, have somewhere to go back to remembering why you're doing this to begin with. There was something that grabbed a hold of you that was just true. It was the abuse that those kids were suffering, or that family that was destroyed, or just the incredible brutality that touched your heart. You thought, that's not right, that needs to change. Oh yeah, that's what I'm fighting for. And so I think going back to that core motivation, you got a way to remind yourself of that. That's really important, at least for me. The other is then take a step back when you're frustrated, lift your head up a little bit, get a view of what's going on here. Why is this a problem? Ask some wise people to help you think through the problem. Don't just keep banging your head up against the wall. Step back, look at it strategically. What am I trying to do? And make a new route.
I hope you guys have written that down. If you haven't, though, this is all going on at invisibleChildren.com/live, and all this is actually going to be recorded as soon as this is over, so people can watch it again and again. Hear your soothing tone.
Just watch it over and over.
Again.
Yeah.
We were talking with Jay Naidu earlier today, and you both have voices, I think, that are perfect for the car ride or something like that, for just plugging in and heading somewhere. So.
Outstanding. Never been told that, but thank you.
Absolutely.
Very much.
So we were told.
An audiobook.
An audiobook.
I really.
Well, especially it's probably best for those who are trying, like maybe they're sitting in the back on the road trip and they want to go to sleep. So plug in, listen carefully. Yeah.
I was told you have twins.
I have twin girls. They're going off to college. Next Saturday, we're taking them down to Christopher Newport University.
Man.
Very exciting.
I am a twin, and I can only hope that they have not caused you as much trouble as my brother and I have imparted on our parents.
There's no way you can.
You're a twin too. She's a twin too.
Twins here.
Great twinness.
Surrounding, yeah, we flocked together.
That. Yeah, No, there's no way you could have possibly caused as much trouble as my girls have caused.
Hope they're tuning in and heard that. Give him some grief for that one.
Yeah.
So, what do they want to study? What are they looking forward to?
They're still figuring that out, which is what I encourage. I mean, the idea of you go off to university. If you know what you want to do, great. But otherwise, they got this fabulous opportunity to learn to be learners, learn about the world. They're a part of a leadership program that will give them a minor in leadership, and they're excited about exploring that. So read a lot, have fun, learn how to think.
Okay, so I feel at IC that Lisa is probably at the pinnacle of people just owning their roles and doing an incredible job. Did you always want to do what you're doing now? Have you just kind of been led into this?
No, I didn't. I was actually talking with some young women earlier about how I feel like I would encourage people to embrace the possibility that you may zigzag your way to what you want to do, and not feeling like you need to find the perfect job right away. One, because you probably actually don't know what's perfect for you, and two, because it's going to be very rare that would happen right away. And so recognizing that it's a long journey, and figuring out as you go along things that you're good at, realizing things you're not so good at, what makes you come alive and what doesn't, and realizing my degree is in education. I thought I was going to be a teacher. So much of my job does actually, I get to be a teacher in many ways, or an educator, but I never thought I'd be in Washington doing policy work, and I'm still learning so much and still figuring out in this kind of work. I still feel like I'm on a journey, and what I ultimately will do in 5 or 6 years may change, but so I think give yourself time, have like a longer term vision and take small steps to get closer to what you're passionate about. Don't necessarily put the pressure on yourself to get there and have all that you want right away.
You got time. I've still got some ideas in my head. I'm not set. So you touched on it a little bit. Policymakers. We have Samantha Power coming tonight, the UN Ambassador. Really excited to hear her speak. And it does seem like a lot of policymakers have their pulse on the LRA issue. How do we keep it there? What are some of these things that we can do from both of you to really make sure that this conflict doesn't go out of focus?
Yeah. Expert.
Oh, well, I feel like Gary can also speak to that just broadly about, how to continue to gauge policymakers, but part of my job and the team at Resolve is, one, to look for opportunities to take advantage of, because we can continue to kind of speak and use our voices, but our voices aren't necessarily going to have as strong of an impact in Washington or with other policymakers unless it's kind of surrounding like a concrete opportunity. So like if you're asking your member of Congress, it's one thing to say, hey, I care about this issue, I want you to care about it. That's great, but they can't really do anything with that. So that's why getting involved with an organization like Invisible Children, or if you care about trafficking, getting involved with an organization like IJM, where we have our pulse on when the opportunities are coming up, and you can jump in on a campaign where everyone's speaking up at the same time, and we're all asking for very specific things like co-sponsor this bill, sign on to this letter to the president, or make sure, put funding in next year's budget to help these communities that are affected. And same would go with trafficking work, that, to say, speak up and use your voice, that's absolutely true. But I think there could be a lot of wasted energy if it's not channeled into like specific opportunities. And that's why it's really important to join. If you care about trafficking, join in with International Justice Mission. If you care about the LRA, join in with Invisible Children and Resolve, so that your voice is used. It's like the power of your voice, we capitalize on it and maximize it.
Sweet. So. Did either of you guys get a chance to walk around the Kunanbangate exchange at all yesterday? Did you guys get to go down there?
I didn't get here till late last night, so I missed out.
I walked around a little bit, yeah. It was great. It was great to see so many people with kind of a shared heart all out there. So
it's been wild to see how many these different issues and causes have really overlapped.
Yeah.
Charity water with clean water and stuff like that, and not having to send people hours away to get water. Girls can stay in school, and then Pencils of Promise building those schools and trying to keep them in there and Teach for America, and all these different people who really are coming together and stuff like that. What do you think? We got asked an interesting question. Invisible Children were very focused on the LRA and ending those atrocities. And the question was asked, what do you think? Is it more beneficial for a person to find one cause and stick with it? Or can you diversify and really work on a few different things? What do you guys think?
What do you think, Lisa?
Oh, well, I'll let you take, I'll let you take that first.
Well, I think there's just trade-offs to
Yeah.
it, right? That there is definitely power from focus. You guys at Invisible Children have achieved an amazing thing because you've stayed focused. And here's what we know is that the bad guys are focused, right? Coney and the LRA is not on to some other topic, next month. They are still focused on what they are doing and making sure that they escape any kind of accountability. And so many times it's not a fair fight because it's very focused bad guys. Like sex traffickers, they wake up every single day very focused on what they do, and they're committed. They don't have 6 other causes that they're trying to address.
No day job. Right.
Exactly. And so if you're going to take on a full-time bad guy with a part-time commitment, that's not a fight you're likely to win.
Good point. So we actually got asked this to ask you via Twitter. What is one interesting thing that most people wouldn't know about Gary Haugen? People want to know what you do. Your day to day. Besides,
just how uninteresting I am.
That's an easy way out.
That's what that is. Okay.
We'll get your daughters to start tweeting in.
I know, and that would be bad. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm prepared to disclose. All right, that
this is an exclusive.
Yeah, you might want to gather the family.
Watching at
around
home. This is the time to share the link. InvisibleChildren.com/live. Quick.
Some of you might know that I am into CrossFit. I do CrossFit.
We saw that.
Yes.
You're a pretty buff dude.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. I love to do CrossFit workouts to Kelly Clarkson.
No way. Wait. No way.
What
that is his favorite.
Stronger.
Right?
Is that wrong?
That has defied expectation.
Not wrong at
Thank
all.
you, sir. That
Thank
is
you.
brilliant.
And if that's wrong, and girls, if I've embarrassed you, my 2 sons,
If that's
I
wrong,
know I've
we don't want to
embarrassed
be
you.
right. That's awesome.
Amen.
That's phenomenal.
All right.
You heard it here
How
first,
often do you go to
Heard it
CrossFit?
here.
I've never done CrossFit. It's a pretty
Yeah.
intense regime, I hear.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, I know you don't.
You go, oh, see? Come on, Gary. Come on, man. You're killing me. And we're cutting.
Yeah, that's where we are. Yeah.
Do you go in there and is it they post the workout for you?
Totally.
or-
That's the best part. All you have to do is show up and do what they tell you to do. And it's smart and intense, and I love it. Yeah.
What is a burpee? I know that that burpees are included. It's a workout exercise, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
It sounds bad, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's an interesting.
Yeah, well, it's you should probably do one.
Nice to do one.
Yeah, it's where you stand up, you go flat on the ground, and then you jump back up.
Oof.
So that's just moving your whole body all the way down. You do a push-up and you stand up, then you got to jump.
And they have those CrossFit Games, right?
They do.
And those are some serious athletes. That have you done it? She just pointed at
Oh,
you.
because I knew that
Because you
he was
thought-
following them very
Okay.
closely.
I was following them very closely. I actually, they had 140,000 competitors around the world because they do this open competition over a 5-week period of time. So one workout each week over 5 weeks, and you post your score. And so I participated with 140,000 participants in the Masters category. Which
That
means
sounds
old-
intense.
it means old guy. Old guy. So it's
Wait, so what's above
So-
Masters?
there's no above Masters.
Wow,
Ancient.
there it is.
Yeah,
Do not do this. You might get a heart attack.
Yeah,
Don't do
you're
it.
dead. That's it.
Great.
Yeah, so that's the story.
Well, can I ask a question, Gary? I'm springing this on
Yes,
you,
you may.
but
Yeah.
you touched on this in the first speech that you gave at the speech you gave at the first Fourth Estate.
Yeah.
And I've really been so privileged to kind of get to see this firsthand in you with your family. But you, as the leader of International Justice Mission and someone who's asked to go and speak, and you're a very in-demand person, and you do work that is so grueling and that deals with some of the heaviest things in the world, and yet you also really, I've seen that you do really choose to prioritize and protect time in your life for like personal you don't just completely pour yourself out into the work and deny your growth as a person and your role as a father, and really balancing the hard work of justice with this term you use, like refreshing joy. So I think people that really care about these issues, it might be hard to figure out that balance or you know, figure out how to do that. And so if maybe you could speak to that a little bit, because I know that touched a lot of people when you talked about that.
Yeah, I think it's especially true when we're young, because we tend to think that this work of justice is a sprint, and we are passionate about it, and we want to run as hard as we can. But what you do realize is it's just this ancient teaching about Sabbath, really. This notion that the God who made us actually intended we should work for 6 days, but there should be a day when we rest. And I think that's just, we're learning more and more that's just true. Every month in Harvard Business Review, there's an article about the importance of having time for restoration, for refreshment, that everyone's a better leader, everyone's a better, more effective contributor, when they've had time to tend to the soul, when they've had time to tend to the joy within their own life, because you cannot do it in the long haul if you are just in the grim, ugly darkness 24/7. You will just burn out. And those that we're seeking to serve, those who we're seeking to help, they don't need this sort of spasm of passion. They need a long faithfulness in the same direction. And that I have found for myself is maintained by being home with the family.
Girls.
Yes.
And son.
Clean your room. And the kind of reacquaintance continually with beauty, with art, with goodness, with joy, for the very purpose not of just then wallowing in that, but then getting back to the work. And I love whenever you're on an airplane and they say, secure your own oxygen mask before you help another, before you assist the person next to you. And for me, joy is the oxygen of doing the hard things of justice. And so you secure your own source of joy, and then you're going to be in a good position to help others.
It's a great analogy. I always pass out on airplanes, so if that moment does happen, I could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Speaking about fun, and you know,
if you went to CrossFit though, maybe you just.
We would know. We would know.
Who knows?
Invisible Children Loves Fun. We're having a dance party, and hopefully you'll get out there and show us your moves. Thanks for stopping by. This is awesome. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
You guys take it easy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
He did you proud, family. He did you proud. So coming up tonight, we've got some really, really exciting stuff coming on. Again, you know, please take a seat.
Oh, hey, Miriam.
Hey,
We
guys.
have Samantha Power coming. She's really, really exciting. She just got confirmed as the UN Ambassador, and that is a role with some heavy responsibilities, but she is a really, really cool person who I think has a really good grasp on young people. She's giving a talk. We're actually going to be giving away the Peace in Action Award to a really deserving participant who's in the audience.
Is that a secret thing?
It's not a secret.
It's not a secret
I mean, the rest of it, the recipient is a secret.
Oh, wow.
Hey, look at this.
Yeah.
No,
Another
wow.
all-star.
Breaking news, just in
Look at
from
this.
the receiving line of
Oh, no.
the event, and it's a star-studded cast out there.
I've heard there was
Star-studded
paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
Well, it's because
Are
we're,
there?
No, it's not.
Really?
There's
we're,
press.
we're 20 minutes away now.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
We're going
We
over
have a
who's
shot
going to
of,
be on.
of the auditorium if you want to show that for a second.
Oh, I'd
We
love to
do,
see
yeah.
it.
Let's send it over to the auditorium. Give you
filing
guys a
in.
look at what's
there
happening.
they are.
Wow.
People are taking their seats. We saw some of the rehearsals, and what you're going to see tonight is absolutely
I think we can
Fantastic.
tease it,
We can
right?
tease it?
I think we can because the people want to know.
Yeah.
What
Let's
sticking
tease a
around
little
for.
bit. So if you've seen The Dark
Yeah.
Knight for one, if you've seen pretty much any Hollywood movie, Jurassic Park, the list goes on.
Inception.
There's Inception. That noise in Inception, that
Exactly that.
that noise was created by the world famous Hans Zimmer and the Hans Zimmer Orchestra in his studio. And tonight, they created a piece for us.
They
And
created a Fourth Estate theme song.
Literally, just
So-
ours.
Yeah,
I
for
sat
the Fourth
in there.
Estate for now and forever.
earlier tonight, and I like classical music because I can't play an instrument for a damn. And I'm sitting in there, and you are getting hit by some of these instruments. Like the strings are smacking you in the face.
Not literally.
I'll give this away, and he's going to probably get pissed at me. Ben Kesey was in there watching the rehearsal. He started tearing up watching the rehearsal.
Exclusive.
This just in, Ben Kesey teared up.
So-
Music by
Easy
Leland Cox
breezy
on
Ben
that
Kesey.
piece.
Leland
Leland
Cox.
Cox.
Leland Cox is,
And
a
he's
special
here.
treasure.
The Hans
Leland
Zimmer
is here. I
remote
just met him.
control
He's
studio.
out there, and he is he's going to be directing the ensemble of musicians that they have performing this piece.
Wow.
That is going to be then danced to by the LXD, the League of Extraordinary Dancers. And I just watched the rehearsal, and
Yeah.
holy moly, it was crazy.
We were talking to Harry Shum Jr. from Glee a little bit ago
Oh, yeah.
about some of the dance moves and what it takes. And these guys have, he said, so much strength in their wrist area.
Oh, yeah.
And they're literally holding themselves above the ground just on their wrist.
I mean, it's acrobatics. They are like
Yeah.
defying physics and gravity as they scoot across the ground, do flips. I mean, the women, the ballerinas, all of
God, they're
them,
so good.
it's beautiful.
I swear they don't have the same number of bones that I
No,
do.
you
That's
need to
just-
stick around. That'll probably be happening around 9 o'clock during the show, so
Big
you're going to
time.
have to hold on for that one, but it's definitely going to be worth it.
We're
So-
also going to hear from Jed. He's going to give a really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
life class talk. If you were waiting for any life class out of all of the people at Invisible Children, this is probably going to be the one that you don't want to miss, because he's actually going on a bicycle trip.
Beautiful.
Following the Fourth Estate. We've actually gotten this for him as a gift. Some
He
of you...
hasn't taken it yet.
He hasn't taken it yet. We're
Yeah,
going
it's
to make
funny.
him.
We've tried to give it to him a handful of times, and he keeps leaving it in the studio, and I'm not sure why, because it's very high quality.
Jay Naidu is the runner-up if he
Yeah.
doesn't take this. But Jed's going on a bike trip that he's actually recreating some of the trip that his parents went on when before he was born. They walked across the country, and they're going to go on their bikes down to South America, and he's going to be gone for a little while. So this talk is going to be his heart and soul before he leaves. Essentially, it's going to
We're
be,
all gonna cry just because we love Jed and he's a great guy.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to be pretty sweet.
You'll love him too by the end of his talk if you don't know who he is.
Some of you have sent in some incredible memes regarding the unicorn helmet.
Oh,
and
please
I
keep them
will-
coming. Can you put it on so we
Yeah.
can offer them?
I
Yeah.
will
Come on.
put it on.
We need to offer
to-
people.
Oh yeah,
Offer
screenshot
to-
this.
we
While
need
he does this,
This is what we're gonna call a screenshot op. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely something you need to
Insider.
stay tuned for. And then Marion,
we just
backstage.
received word from the studio, Noe, that you look very pretty.
Oh,
Noel,
you
cleans
do.
up nice.
Why do you
yeah.
look so pretty tonight?
I'm not gonna lie, that dress.
Well, there's this
Amazing.
Screenshot that.
thing. Screenshots.
Ugh.
Carl, you matched the backdrop a little bit. Screenshot that.
Duck lips, that's the new thing
Yeah.
that was going on a while
yeah.
back.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
Also, tonight we are going to again hear from Samantha Power.
Oh, can't wait.
This
She
is
has
crazy.
arrived because we have a tweet from Charlotte that says, "I just shook hands with the U.S. Ambassador to the UN."
What?
Hashtag.
I'm out of here. What am
Are
I
we
doing?
allowed?
What am I doing in the studio? I gotta go meet my girl.
Hashtag never have I ever been so nervous for a handshake. One hashtag.
Wow, never have
Well,
I
never
ever
have
been
I
so
ever
nervous.
seen.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
long one. That's very long.
So Jed went to her house for that interview that we
Right.
actually posted about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And he said, walking through her house, she has these photos everywhere of some of the most important people in the world.
Oh.
But it's so casual. It's like, oh yeah, there's
Oh.
Barack and me doing, not humble brag, but literally, this woman
There was like
knows
a basketball
people.
rolling on the floor at her house that just had Barack Obama's signature
Her
on it.
kids
'Cause
are
she had
playing
like
with it.
five.
Well,
So she was like,
I
whatever.
mean, the people are here, and then Samantha Power is
She-
just.
But she is a woman of the people, though. Even
But
though
well,
she
yeah.
is like so powerful and so amazing and so profound in like things she says. She still is like, she's still down to like hang out with us.
Yeah.
Hello.
To give you guys a little bit of background on her, she actually, before she was appointed to this position, was kind of the president's advisor on ending genocide. She had a lot of solutions. She wrote an incredible book that detailed what we need to do globally to kind of solve some of these really major issues. So she knows her stuff.
Yeah, she the book won a it win a Pulitzer Prize?
Probably.
Yeah, it did.
Let's
So
be honest.
If she
Confirmed.
didn't, she got ripped
Someone
off.
fact check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, confirmed. I can tell you.
Confirmed. Oh, she
confirmed
did.
for sure.
Confirmed.
Pulitzer Prize winning.
Yeah.
So she's no slouch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm really interested to I wonder what she's gonna say because
Yeah.
she I mean, she is in a new position of such power. Like, I wonder if she's been known to speak her mind and be, like, very outspoken about genocide prevention and all these things. So I'm wondering, like, is she going to be able to have that, or is she going to have to tone it down, or, like, how's it going to be for her, you know?
Totally.
I feel like you have to get all buttoned up when you work at the White House.
We should just ask her.
Where is she?
Come on.
Just kidding.
I mean, is she gonna, you know, you were on stage earlier, you pulled an all-time baller move. It's very rare to see this. This woman quoted...
Let the dogs out.
She quoted herself from stage. She said, and I'd like to quote
myself.
Me. And you gave...
That was the quote, Miriam.
And then you said your name after Miriam Alarbi.
Just to really bring it full circle.
Unreal.
That was kind of an impromptu move. Like, I intended on telling them that it was a quote that I had written in a blog, but it just sort of turned into something else on stage.
Don't take it back. It was prep. I bet you Samantha Power is going to try and work in some major quotes.
She's
of her
watching
own,
the
but,
live stream. She's going to steal your
If
quote.
she's watching, Samantha, I will give you some advice before you take that stage.
Boom.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go. The invitation is open.
What is the advice you would give her? What are you talking about? You can't just say you're going to give it and then not give it.
I mean, you know, specifically about quoting herself. Like, you know, there's a whole timing thing. I can't tell you all. It's very exclusive.
My advice, which I think she already does, and which all these speakers at the summit seem to do, everyone who's been here listens and pays attention to the young people who's at this conference. And obviously they're there for that reason. But I think that's the biggest trait of, you know, a really phenomenal leader here.
Well, I think the people that are the most successful and most influential, they've learned that it starts with young people, and we're gonna grow into something someday, you know, and it's power, hopefully. And so you have to, like, reach the young people if you're gonna have any change.
Totally. You've got to put up with our unicorn helmets.
Teach the children, you know, well.
You get the good stuff.
What?
Whitney Houston.
Teach the children well. You got to.
Let them lead the way.
So for everyone at home, tonight is our last night.
Oh.
It has been an unreal summit.
Can you see the bags in my eyes? Like, if I like appreciate that shout out from the studio, because I really feel like I got hit by a truck, but it's like the best kind.
Do you want to know
Like an ice cream truck.
an ice cream truck? I got hit by an ice cream truck.
Do you want to know a semi gross insider trick to get rid of the bags that they've told us TV presenters use?
Yeah.
Semi-gross?
Like,
Semi-gross.
I can do semi-gross.
Semi-gross. It's
Okay.
not terrible. This is still PG, so no one cut off the camera. I was told by some of the camera operators who've done, they did the Dr. Dre stuff at USC a while back when he donated that
You
money.
might have
all
heard
that.
of him.
You might
Yeah.
have
Dr.
heard of
Dre.
Dr.
He
Dre.
has headphones, right?
Especially for film. Yeah, he
headphone
just
guy.
does headphones. Gosh. Is that a we're getting old, or, you know? But they said if you have bags under your eyes, the way that a lot of the pros actually do it is they put preparation H under your eyes, and it gets rid of them.
Hemorrhoid cream?
Hemorrhoid cream.
That
So-
makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair warning. You did give us fair warning.
I gave you plenty of warning, so.
Wow.
You know, I think I read that in like a girls magazine once, and like there's all these like stories, like horror stories of like girls getting it in their eyes and then like burning their, you know, so just don't do that.
Don't
though.
do it.
Like,
Deal with the
it's
bags.
not worth it. Keep the bags.
We're not pharmacists, so we're not like prescribing anything.
Yeah, not recommended by a
No.
doctor.
So, some of the really incredible stories that have come out of the 4th Estate, what are your favorites? I definitely have mine. I have a laundry list of some incredible things I'd love to rehash, but you guys have anything that, off the top of your head?
Like on a personal level or on like
Both.
a
I have
watching-
some major moments. We made a lot of, and it's all on our YouTube channel for you guys to rewatch in case you had to
10
work,
minutes, guys.
missed it.
Okay.
But we had The Buried Life.
That was going to be my personal
They
favorite.
came on, they actually surprised a girl, Tori, with a limb that was donated by Hanger Clinic.
Hanger Clinic, thank you.
Incredible.
Huge. I
Amazing.
can't stress enough how expensive. Did you hear how intricate this arm is?
No.
So it's a fully, they take a cast of your arm.
Your other one?
Your other
and
arm.
they reverse it.
It gets matched. It's all fingers, so it's not like the olden days of just the clips and stuff. And it's your whole hand, and it works off of, you know, kind of your I'm gonna screw this up, but your neurons and nerves, firing and stuff, and you actually get an identical hand to this one.
Wow.
As if it's amazing.
Wow.
That, easily the
Well,
best.
but with that, you know, you obviously have to adjust. You gotta have therapy. They're
Right.
taking care of everything for this girl. So that was incredible. There were tears for that. Blood Brother. They flew in the actual stars of the film, Surya and Rocky, and surprised the audience. People were bawling
Yeah.
when they were on stage. It got like a 5-10 minute standing ovation.
Well, the
10
thing
minutes.
about that too that was really great is they basically lifted the screen and Rocky and Studio were on stage, but the lights were off, so people couldn't tell. So you literally,
I didn't see it.
You're
well,
like,
I was in the room because I was like, I have to be there for that reveal, and you started to see on both sides. People started standing and they're looking at the stage and they're like, no. Then the lights go on and I get chills thinking about it. People erupted. It went nuts. It was, that was the coolest.
And since we couldn't
Cool
show that
moment.
film, you guys can actually go on and request a screening of the film
Right.
to
Yeah.
be brought to you.
And they're touring it around the country,
Yeah.
so do that. Bring that. You would be the hero of your community if you brought that
Yeah.
film to your school, your church, your college, whatever. Do it.
Bloodbrotherfilm.com.
Yes,
Check it out.
Do that.
We had Jay Naidu, who is now a personal favorite of mine. I didn't know what to expect with
What
Jay.
a guy, huh?
He's so
what a
fun.
firecracker.
Sit down. The guy is just on top
He
of his
still
game.
has like all the energy of any
Totally.
young person I've ever met.
He was out there and he had herded up essentially like 20 of our interns
Yeah.
who probably had
Places
things to
be.
do. And he had
Yeah.
just taken them over here and was just learning about where they're from, starting
Wait,
to know
they
what
moved
they
over to
wanted.
there? We started over in what is now the...
He's the Pied Piper of interns. He was moving them around and just...
Well, I
Really
originally
dominated.
thought it was participants, and then I saw it was all interns, and I was like, someone's going to get fired.
If I had to choose maybe 2 people to go out and get a collegiate beverage with who were at the 4th Estate, I would go Jay Naidu and probably Samantha Power.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
for sure. I might.
Oh.
Tag along.
Two.
Come
Two
with.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Double dates.
We had the Common Good Exchange, which was mind-boggling how many organizations were there.
That was day
That was
2.
so
Day two.
fun.
Day 2. Great.
Who were your favorites from the Common Good?
Oh, I'm gonna blow this right now, but the ball pit. Where was that? It was
It'll come to me.
I'm blowing it.
Something
Don't-
humanity. Restoring
Restore
humanity.
humanity. That's right. Oh my gosh.
They had a ball pit.
This is what they were doing. It's so cool. They were having people sit in a ball pit together and get to know each other. So people who didn't know each other, or maybe like they were finding people who were kind of like walking around by themselves, and they're like, "Hey, come in here," and they were just connecting people because they were just they value building communities, and so they were having people meet each other and just like become fast friends or whatever. How can you not become fast friends?
Yeah,
a
that's
ball
the
pit.
answer to world peace.
I know,
That
and
right
so
there.
and it was really cool because then I realized that like people were becoming friends, and the Facebook group that we hosted for all the participants that were coming,
Yeah.
we gave them access to a Facebook group where they got to know each other, and I met like 4 or 5 pairs of people who were like, we met in the Facebook group, and now we're here
Wow.
hanging out together, and they were like best friends. It was
We
so
met
cool.
3 girls over by that ball pit, which maybe also Chuck E. Cheese should relook at their policy with that height limit, because that's bullcrap.
Because Carl can't go.
Yeah, but we met these 3 girls right outside of the ball pit. They were roommates at the 4th Estate now. They hadn't really met before. They are literally attached at the hip. They're talking about getting matching tattoos. They're talking about, going
There's
on trips.
nothing that solidifies a friendship like matching tattoos. Okay, don't let your parents tell you.
We're
You should
all
definitely-
committing to one too. Alex
We're
is
getting a
gonna
live stream tattoo.
come up with a few.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exclusive.
start. You know what? Send in some Twitter suggestions for tattoos that we
Yes.
should get as a
Yeah.
group.
Should we get the helmet? I feel like that's the natural
the helmet
whatever.
tattoos?
We'll let the
Well,
people
that's the
decide.
starting point
Yeah.
if we don't get something better.
Hit up Twitter and use
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Ugh.
Show's about to go on. Use hashtag 4th Estate Live. Tell us some really creative tattoos. We'll DM a winner of that, and we'll send you something cool.
I just kind of picked my nose a little bit on television.
I
saw it.
did it
We're
all
all
day.
friends here.
I kind of just, I had an itch and I didn't know what to do, and then I
I
just.
had a
We're all
really,
friends
Be
here.
yourself.
Come
if
on,
anything
right?
has taught us
really big faux pas I had earlier. Our producer Heather called me while we were off air, but this camera was on. I took the phone and I just hung up on her,
Oh.
and then I called her later and was like, sorry I couldn't talk, I was on the phone, and she was like, actually I was watching you, you just hung up on me.
This
So-
just in, side note, sorry to sidetrack, my dad just texted me a picture of Carl with the unicorn helmet.
Yeah.
So we've got a double
we got
angle.
some
Dad,
tweets about
thanks
that
for
too.
watching.
Instagram.
And this
Oh,
just
good
in
to
her
know.
dad's baba on her
Baba,
phone.
that's how you say dad in Arabic.
Yes.
Oh,
man.
that's not as funny.
We met him.
We can make it.
He took a tour of the office.
3.
Great guy.
3.
Thank you for watching.
Wow,
we got
he got
the
a
duck
good
face.
one.
That is horrendous.
You got a really good
And,
one.
Wow.
But yeah, we had the Kunanbangate exchange, and then we had some incredible breakout sessions, which you were a part of. Probably
Mine was killer.
the biggest talking one, which
So bummed that we
was
missed it.
My panel was girls who run the world, girls, and so we had a just star-studded cast of panelists. Sophia Bush, Alexis from I'm That Girl, Yael Cohen from Fuck Cancer, Collines from Invisible Children. She was a Legacy Scholarship recipient. She's one of the 1% of women in Uganda that have finished university, and she's an amazing testament to what happens with a community when you can educate girls. And then we had Meg Fagundes. It was great.
I like to think that I am generally pretty unflappable. Those women can be so intimidating with
They're
how
intense.
impressive they are. They
They're
are
very
so
intense,
impressive.
and they're very smart, and they're very convicted,
Yeah.
and you just don't get in their way. That's for sure.
Yeah, some
You
of
want to
them
get on
are-
their level and not try and get, don't try and block them.
Oh,
Get
wow.
with them.
Samantha Power just tweeted.
Oh my god.
Probably from right over there.
Samantha Power.
She is right outside the door.
Just arrived at Invisible Children's hashtag 4th Estate Summit.
Yes!
Final touches.
She got
on
the
my
right hashtag.
Do you want to be like Samantha Power? Use the hashtag.
She gets
She can
it. She
probably
totally
hear
gets it. And she actually just got a Twitter hashtag, Ambassador Power.
Follow
what a
her.
power move.
I'm about
Follow
to
her.
retweet. I'm retweeting her.
Retweet it right now.
And
It's
if
serious.
Carl, what does that say? Carl
Carl
is it?
Stevens.
Call
Dodger host.
Thank you, Heather.
Sucker.
That would be Tam. Shout out to Tam for that
Hey,
graphic. Lovely.
A graphic design intern.
2 minutes.
Great
Oh,
team
geez.
around
Oh,
there.
and she tagged at
So
Invisible.
why don't let's talk a little bit about what
Sorry.
they're going to see and what's going to go down to wrap it up, because
Yeah.
I mean obviously 2 minutes.
yeah.
I got to get in there. I got to see
Totally.
this
I'm
thing.
so
excited.
So
Totally.
I got to
So-
be sitting here waiting for you to close it up.
Quite quickly, they're getting an incredible talk by Jed. Samantha Power is going to deliver the keynote of the entire summit and give pretty much a perspective on what we need to do to end some of these conflicts, which
Maybe what
she's
she's gonna
the
do.
expert.
Yeah.
She has the moves and the power to do this.
No pun
We're going
intended.
to, Samantha, ooh,
Great name.
smooth. We got the Hans Zimmer orchestra group with some incredible, music that they all put together, that group. And closing it out with a really cool award presentation. We're going to have a dance party afterwards, which is going to blow minds, try some of that.
Jane Does.
And
Jane
yeah,
On the ones and twos.
in particular, also, the key message of this is the whole reason we're bringing you this broadcast is we are committed to seeing an end to the LRA conflict. Our new campaign is actually zeroLRA.invisiblechildren.com. Go find out about it. We have some really cool fundraising stuff set up for you guys. Start a page now, tonight. If I could make one plea to you guys, it would be go on there after listening to us quickly, start a page, and learn about what you can do to end the
And
conflict.
this is an exclusive.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
And here's the other thing. If you do hit some of these fundraising goals, some of these things that we're going to be hooking you up with and helping you with are mind-boggling.
Well, and there's 2 levels to it. Like when you're fundraising
1
for
minute.
these
1
campaigns, oh my gosh, 1 minute. When you're fundraising for the zeroLRA campaign, you're not only seeing when projects get unlocked. So as a team, as a group, we're all fundraising for a common goal, and you can see when we unlock those goals. And then we've created some incentives for people to or awards if you reach certain goals. So
Totally.
it's going to be pretty fun, and people around the world will be participating in this.
So keep sending in those Twitter hashtags. Hashtag 4th Estate Live. We're going to answer all your questions, be with you the entire broadcast. We're
Yeah.
going to actually come back to you at the very end, give you our sign off and all that stuff. Make sure you grab some friends, tweet out the link, share the link, like it on Facebook, all that good stuff.
And
Let
it's
people know.
it's archived after, so you can
Totally.
always go back and watch it too. So send it to them, and they can watch it later.
Totally. But
All right.
Let's
yeah,
see what's
pleasure's
happening.
been
Thank you
all
so
ours.
much.
Let's go to the actual auditorium
Yeah,
and
we'll see you
we
guys
love
later.
you. Talk to you soon.
Crazy.
Samantha Power.
Samantha!
It's always been that the decisions made by the few, with the money and the power, dictated the priorities of their government and the stories in the media. They determined the lives and the opportunities of their citizens. But now there is something bigger than that. The people of the world see each other and can protect each other. It's turning the system upside down, and it changes everything. There are 7 billion people on the planet. That number is expected to reach 10 billion in the next few decades. The global economy is unsustainable. We live in a world with more slaves than ever before, and wars that never end. It seems we are headed for destruction. We are in desperate need of a solution.
Are we on the brink of a new war in the Middle East?
It is a tense morning yet again in North and South Korea.
The death toll from the country's civil war has surpassed 100,000.
13 million are facing severe hunger.
12 million people need emergency aid.
Over 5 million people have been killed.
It seems this burst of violence is only getting worse.
We believe this generation is the answer. In 2,000 generations, there has never been a world where people can see and hear each other and immediately know each other. A group of young people who are more innovative, connected, and passionate about changing the way the world works. This generation desperately wants to leave their mark in the world and work towards something meaningful and lasting. Invisible Children has always been about achieving peace and pursuing justice because we believe that every person on this planet should be treated with equal value. We started with Joseph Kony and the LRA. For the past 27 years, the Lord's Resistance Army has been kidnapping, torturing, raping, mutilating, and killing men, women, and children in Central and East Africa. In addition to those held hostage by Kony, nearly 500,000 people are currently displaced because of this conflict. Invisible Children understands that in order to achieve peace, there must be action. For the past 10 years, we have advocated tirelessly for the arrest of Joseph Kony, invested millions of dollars into life-saving programs aimed at rescuing those held captive, and inspired thousands of young people around the world to stand with us in the pursuit of justice. And it is working. In the last 2 years, killings by the LRA have decreased 93%, and abductions declined 67%. We've seen this generation come together, fight for what they believe in, and change the face of international justice. But it does not stop there. There is so much potential for more if they are given the resources, the place, and the belief to succeed. We call it Fourth Estate. Fourth Estate is a conviction that no matter where you live, all people are equal and deserve the chance to live free from fear. It is also a conference, a summit, the largest gathering of young people from around the world who come together under the banner of peace and action, hearing from the brightest minds in the world about the future of global justice and identity.
We care more about our convenience and comfort than we do about our brothers and sisters. I believe your generation can change this.
There are already thousands of people around the world who are members of Fourth Estate, donating on a monthly basis to the stories and programs that are changing lives and fueling the largest youth movement in the world. One day, Fourth Estate Academy will also be a physical institution that will equip, challenge, and empower students to creatively step out into the world and fight to end the most extreme forms of injustice. In the next 30 years, if we are able to unite 1 billion young people from around the world, we will come together and fund, fight, and finish what it will take to end genocide and massive crimes against humanity. And our generation will be known as those who did the impossible. This is the future of Fourth Estate, and it starts now.
Mic's not on. What? Handheld. Number 2, bring it up. Can you hear me now? No. Welcome to the final session of the Fourth Estate Summit 2013. The final. And boy, we have a big show for you tonight.
I have nothing. Yes! I can speak!
You guys have experienced a lot in the last couple days, and tonight is about committing to zeroLRA. Zero. Hearing from world leaders. World leaders are here, ladies and gentlemen.
Samantha Power!
Yeah.
Boom! Drop that.
And stories from the front line, not to mention dancing until you curl up into a light, little tiny ball of inspiration. Puke, tears on the floor. That's what's happening tonight. We're gonna dance our pants off.
Before this conference started, we were going over the show flow of everything that's happening. This is before we actually had to experience it. And Ben Kesey knew, he goes, is it possible to actually die from too much inspiration? And honestly, some of you are like there. You are like hanging on by a thread. And so, by midnight tonight, our song is gonna be Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, okay?
Yeah.
It's just like, end it. End the LRA and end ourselves in one night. So, we're so glad you're here. Jason, get off the stage because I'm about to give a talk. Okay, people. It's time. So, I want the house lights up a little because I like to see you. It's like I want to see my friends, you know? It's like, there's so much beauty. What I want to talk about for the next few minutes is really foundational to who we are. It's about identity. Because here at Invisible Children, one of the things that we focus on so heavily is actually getting underneath. It's something Tom Shadyac taught us, which is always go back, like what's the deeper why? What's the deeper reason? And so much of what holds us back is fear, is feelings of not really knowing who we are. And I think a lot of that happens when you're young. And so I have a very interesting origin story. Some of you might know it, most of you don't. When my dad was finishing up college, it was during Vietnam. And he hated war, and he was an artist, and you know, it was like the 70s, it was classic, and he decided that he was going to do something radical and different. He was like, I just hate my country, but I don't know why. I hate that we're in Vietnam. I feel like the government is messed up. It doesn't make any sense. But I hate it in my head, but I don't know it. So I don't know why. He originally wanted to ride a motorcycle, but then he realized he couldn't afford it. So he was like, I'm going to walk across America. And he decided that in his early 20s. And he just up and told his family, trained a little bit, and started walking from upstate New York. And he walked, he walked all the way to Washington, D.C., and walked straight into National Geographic headquarters and said, hello, I'm random, but I'm walking across America, and if you give me a camera, I'll take pictures for you. And they were like, no, you look terrifying. You're really dirty, no. So he's walking out, and as he's walking out, somebody was like, maybe that's a good idea. So they chased him, gave him a camera, gave him a JanSport backpack. This is a new company, JanSport, no one knew what that was. And he starts walking, and he starts taking photos for the magazine. And my dad's not a writer, he's not a photographer, he's just a genuine person and wanted to kind of see. So he would stop and he would live with families that he met along the way. And he would live with people that challenged him. He lived with a man in the Appalachian Mountains who was a hermit, a total hermit, did not experience the outside world, and he stayed with him for months. He lived, this is the 70s, so he lived on a commune called The Farm in Tennessee. And that sounds great, but it was awful. And they always do, but don't do it. And he walks to New Orleans. It takes him 2 years to get to New Orleans. There, he meets a lovely young lady in seminary whose name is my mom. And as a charismatic guy, he seduces her out of seminary and in 6 months convinces her to marry him and walk the rest of the way with him to Oregon. And so they walk for 3 years, and my mom is like slow, and so like it just takes forever, and it's really far. America's enormous. And the stories they have, like my mom was hit by a car going 60 miles an hour, flew 30 feet through the air and landed on her backpack in a mortuary, like on the grass. And she's fine because I'm here. And just the most wild stories. And so they finish and they walk into the Pacific Ocean after 5 years in a town called Florence, Oregon. They made it. And my mom was 3 months pregnant with my sister. And she had to like crawl because she's like puking and like all that wonderful stuff that for whatever reason women do. I don't know why that happens, but I'm not a doctor. But I mean, then of all the places they went, their favorite spot was Nashville. They were like, that's where I want to raise a child. And so I grew up there. And it was awesome. And then, you know, as artists and people who only meet for 6 months and gets married do, my parents amazingly got a divorce, shocking. And they were amazing. I never knew that divorce was bad at all until I was like 16 and someone like explained it to me. Because I was like, oh my God, 2 Christmases. This is so important. And my parents, I mean, it was a brutal divorce because they're both creatives and it was really, but I never knew that, which was such a gift my parents gave me. And I grew up having I knew that they had walked across America. I knew they were on the cover of National Geographic. I knew that they did this whole, whoa. It's August 1979. They're on the cover. Pass it around if you want. It looks really cool. And that's so cool. We'll talk about it later. And what was so wild is that they would go on speaking tours and they wrote books, but they were just my parents. I had no idea. And honestly, I knew that they did it, but I didn't care. I don't know, you know, it's just your parents are not humans for the longest time. It's like they're creatures that like feed you and annoy you and hold you back. And you know you love them because that's like what you do or what you're supposed to do, but it's like, it's a challenge to see them as a human. And so when I was, you know, I grew up like catching giant snapping turtles and bringing them into my room and hiding them under the bed and like, it's like a Tennessee thing. And it was like, so just a normal, I think, childhood. And I grew up wanting to be a movie director and be rich and famous. I remember drawing constantly the castles that I would live in. I was like literally, I have journals of these amazing, and there was like full-on schematics where the bathrooms are, dream homes for when I would be rich. And I remember being like, I will have this by the time I'm 25. And I didn't, but the thing is, that's what I thought I wanted. I had this idea of who I was gonna be. It was like a form of a thing, like how I was gonna be known, how I was gonna be perceived. And as I grew up, and I went to high school, loved it, went to college to go to film school at USC. That's where I met Jason on day 3 of college. And we were like instantly like, oh my God, you are me. And we've been best friends ever since. But I tried that. I tried to be a director, and I was like, I do not like this at all. What was I thinking? It's really hard to like boss people around and like have an idea of what it's supposed to look like. That's really stressful. And so I didn't like it, and I didn't know where I was going. And so I kind of just let it go, and I just started following things that I loved. I became a writing major because I liked reading. I didn't necessarily like writing. I liked just reading stories. And I kind of started pursuing those things. And there was such a liberation when I actually had my dream disintegrate. When I tried the directing thing, tried film school, and I was like, I don't like this. And so all these expectations that I had, all these dates that I had set of what I was going to achieve by when, fell away. And all of a sudden it was a blank slate, which seems scary, but it was an invitation to discovery of like, I don't know where I'm going, but it's kind of exciting. And so as I went and discovered writing, and I loved reading, I also discovered this story, which was my friend Jason, who went to Sudan and then ended up in Uganda and told the story about Jacob. And I saw the rough cut, and I spoke, I talked to my friends who were like living through this, and like, we're thinking of like starting an organization because people keep wanting to help, and we're gonna like give them ways to help, I think. And I was like, okay, that sounds stressful, but yeah. And I was so moved by the story of Jacob because it came in my life at this special moment where I was being encouraged by my parents to go to law school. I'm a total creative, English major, right brain, but they were like, we would love for you to go to law school because it will build you a skill set that you can use. And I was like kind of getting into this idea of human rights law. And I remember seeing Jacob's story and how he wanted to be a lawyer and how he had no school fees to do it. And my parents were offering to send me to law school, and I was mad at them for trying to push me into that. And I remember having this moment of like, oh my God, Jacob's dream is to live in peace in his home and be a lawyer, and I'm mad at my parents for offering me that for free. And it was this empowering and insane sense of duty that just came over my body. I was like, I have to do that. So I went to law school, and while in law school, Invisible Children became a thing, and Jason is like, we want you to come work for us. And so I did, and what was so interesting, when you choose to go out of law school where everyone's expecting you to go make money, and you choose to go work for a charity like Invisible Children, people are like, wow, that's so radical. And I wanted to live radically. I wanted to like rearrange the priorities that people thought were important, because I had had a very liberating experience of seeing those dreams of a castle and this fall away. And I felt the liberty of it. And I felt the liberty of service, working with Invisible Children and seeing people like you come alive, not by focusing on you, but by inviting you to focus on someone else. And that invitation was so, I couldn't get it out of my system. I became addicted to it. And I was like, this is where I belong. And so I started working at Invisible Children 5 years ago. And 3 years ago, I was in Uganda, and a friend of mine named Andrew Morgan told me about this trip he had done, where he had bicycled from New Jersey to Patagonia. If you don't know where Patagonia is, it's the very bottom of South America. It's literally the end. And I was like, that is everything. I have to do it. And so I decided when I turned 30, I was going to do it, and I am 30. And so what's wild is in 2 weeks, I leave. And what's so interesting about the journey of our lives is that I was so convicted to do it, and I was like, I've been working with Invisible Children to build this thing called the Fourth Estate, where we believe that human beings are equal no matter where they live. And I haven't traveled the world. I don't know that it's true. What if I do that? What if I ride a bike, which forces me to see people face to face, and I go all the way to the tip, and I report back and let people know if I'm a liar? And so that's my commitment. Once a month, I'm gonna report back from where I am to you guys and tell you what I'm learning and what I'm discovering. Because I want you to follow along, because the dream, as you saw with the Academy, the dream is that we want people to be empowered to do that. Because there's this amazing Mark Twain quote, which I will butcher, but he says, travel is deadly to bigotry, insecurity, lies. It's something way better than that. But it's deadly to those things, because once you get out of your comfort zone and you see other human beings, everything you thought they were is so much more human and so much more true. And once you strip that away, the form of the castle you drew when you were a kid, the form, all that stuff, when you strip that away, you realize that inside of everyone is an authentic identity of them just getting to be who they are. My parents never wanted me to follow in their footsteps. I'm accidentally following in their footsteps. But they let me be who I am. And I'm actually starting my journey on the beach where they finished, in Florence, Oregon. And they may be super proud of me. I don't know. When I'm a king of a drug cartel in Colombia, they might not be. But I don't know what's gonna happen. But there's something inside of it. And what's so cool about that search for identity, I'm on that search. You guys are gonna be on that search with me on this trip. Is that once you know that you are worthy and that your story matters, you fight for other stories. We've been saying that all weekend. Once you know that, you are so liberated to liberate others. And so I want to show you a trailer of something we've been working on, which is we're going to spend the next year making this movie. And it's going behind the reasons. It's going to the core of what makes us who we are and what makes us Fourth Estate. This is identity.
I really am a firm believer that everyone has their own story.
I come from a place where we're constantly at battle with ourselves.
Less than 1% of women in northern Uganda finished their university degree, and now I'm one of them.
Central High School has a bad reputation of just being the black school downtown.
I have family members who are refugees. I don't want that for my children. I'm forced to choose one label. I am human.
Don't you want to see that? It's gonna be so good. I hope. I'm gonna be on a bicycle, but Jason's gonna make it really good, I swear. But the reason we're making that movie is because we want to make sure that you guys know what's up, what it's all about. Because when you fight for Jacob, when you fight for zeroLRA, you're discovering yourself. Because you're building your heart, and when you open your heart to love someone else, all of a sudden it's there for you to see for the first time. When you stare in the mirror,
You can't see it because you're so concerned with the form of what you thought you were supposed to be. And what's so crazy is when you just pursue the things you love and like, life just happens in front of you and you become the person you want to be. And sometimes you are liberated to follow in your parents' footsteps and be so proud to do it. Not because they made you, but because you want to. And I hope that you guys will be the people that let your kids discover that they want to be like you. And that's going to happen. I have a friend that I'm going to invite out that really liberates others to do that. She's one of my best friends. A lot of you guys have gotten to meet her over the last few days. She is so authentically herself, and she so lets you be yourself that you immediately feel known. And her name is Sophia Bush.
You guys have been making me cry all weekend. I am honored is a stupid word in a room like this. It sort of says it, but it doesn't. I am beyond honored to be here, not even speaking to you guys, just to be here with you guys. And before I introduce one of my personal heroes and a close friend to Invisible Children, I wanted to take a second. But the thing I'd like to do, can we bring the house lights up, guys, for a sec? I don't really want to talk about me. I would love, oh my God, I would love for you guys to just for a second look around this room at each other and just have a moment to realize and give gratitude for the fact that you're here and that the person next to you on your right is here and the person next to you on your left is here, because you guys are young and brilliant and you could be on vacation somewhere, you could be at a job fair, you could be, you know, pursuing some career thing, and you're here prioritizing the we. And 1,500 of you came here to say our membership in society, our passports as global citizens matter more to us than fill in the blank. And that means the world. Not just to me as a person who's passionate about global issues, but I think to everyone who knows what's going on here. And I'm incredibly, I don't want to be that person who's like, I'm 30 and I say words like proud now. But I am. I'm so proud of you guys, because at your age, I was having a lot of conversations about things going on in the world around my dinner table, and I didn't know that I had the power to have them globally. And movements like this have taught me, and I think are teaching all of you, that we carry a passport to the world. We are global citizens, and it is that identity that lets us understand the vast ocean of difference between facts and truth. Because anybody who's ever Googled the LRA understands that there are people dying. That's a fact. But the truth that you guys know and that Invisible Children is helping push out to the world is that they are us. There is no kids in Africa and kids in America. There's just us. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here and pursuing the truth in the way that you are and following your sense of duty and your sense of purpose, because we know the secret that duty isn't a drag of a word. It's not a bummer. It's not like, oh God, I've got to go do that thing my mom said I had to do today, take the trash out, walk the dog, whatever. Duty is purpose. It is a gift. And we've been given the gift of being able to care for the world around us. So thank you guys for opening that present. Thank you for giving it to other people. And I'm so excited to introduce to all of you one of the most amazing women on earth. You're gonna see a video so you get just how great she is, because we've all been fangirling and crying backstage because she's that cool. She is the youngest person ever appointed to this position. And the United States Ambassador to the United Nations, making her first speech since her appointment here for you guys. Enjoy.
If we are to bring about an end to the world's worst atrocities, we have to make it such. There has to be a role. There has to be the creation of political noise and political costs in response to massive crimes against humanity.
As the youngest person to ever serve as United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Samantha Power holds one of the most important positions in the world. In her role, she represents the interests of the United States on the global stage. She immigrated from Ireland to the United States at age 9, and after graduating from Yale, she continued her education at Harvard Law. She discovered her passion for human rights while reporting on the terrible violence and atrocities in the former Yugoslavia in the 1990s. What she saw there changed her forever and inspired her to dedicate her life to ending extreme human rights abuses. In 2002, she won the Pulitzer Prize for her book, A Problem from Hell, America and the Age of Genocide. Before her post at the United Nations, she was Special Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Multilateral Affairs and Human Rights at the National Security Council. She has become world famous for her leadership in the fight for human dignity, liberty, and equality.
We have a critical role to play in insisting that the institution meet the necessities of our time.
Making her first public speech in her new role as United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Fourth Estate proudly welcomes Ambassador Samantha Power.
OMG. Right back at you. You actually have no idea what it's like to be up here looking out at you. I had a hunch, because I know Ben and Jed and Jason and I know Invisible Children. I had a hunch that this would be inspiring. But this is something else. So as you heard, I just began serving as the US Ambassador to the United Nations. Just last week, and I thought, where could I give my first speech? Where should I go? Where should I go public for the first time and engage with real people for the first time? And there was only one answer, one obvious answer, and that was to spend this time with the people who are determined to promote human rights and human dignity, the next generation, who are going to make a profound difference. I was determined to spend my first official weekend with you. Now, as you know, you're not just any group of young people. You are young people who take very seriously the charge to love your neighbor as yourself. Young people with a moral imagination. Young people on a mission. Young people who are determined to leave this world kinder than the world you found. A good number of years ago, folks from around the world gathered, just like you're doing this weekend, for a conference here in California that was on the surface very different from this one. But the attendees then were also united by a shared vision for a kinder and more peaceful world. Like you, they sat together, they discussed, they debated, and they committed to channeling their individual energy into something bigger, more potent, into something more united. Not long ago, my husband, Cass Sunstein, an acclaimed author and professor, who's here, my wonderful husband, came across, this was really not long ago, a couple months ago, came across a letter written at the beginning of this conference that I'm describing by his dad, Dick Sunstein, who was a Navy lieutenant. Dick had stopped briefly in San Francisco after 2 years fighting in the Pacific. And he wrote to his family on April 25th, 1945, and I quote, "Conference starts today, and the town is going wild with excitement. Let's pray that they accomplish something. Let's pray that they accomplish something." Dick Sunstein was bearing witness to the gathering of the nations of the world who assembled in San Francisco to establish the new United Nations. He knew that this effort was something that mattered. That was 68 years ago. Memories fade, bureaucracies are built, positions become entrenched, and while the UN has done tremendous good in the world, there are times when the organization has lost its way, when politics and ideology get in the way of impact. Sometimes that sense of urgency and determination that existed at the start goes missing. That's why when I heard that you were gathered here in California this weekend to take up some of the world's most critical challenges, I wanted to join you. Each of you has a story about how you ended up here today. Some of you heard about the Fourth Estate in your school or your place of worship. Some of you became engaged after you watched Invisible Children's Coney 2012. Some of you may not have known why you were here when you got here a couple days ago, but I bet you know now. Let me tell you a very, very short version of how I got here. Around the time I graduated from college, I opened the newspaper and saw something horrific. Emaciated men herded up into concentration camps in Bosnia simply because they were Muslim. I learned that what was happening was being described by the perpetrators proudly as ethnic cleansing. A half century then, after the Holocaust, genocide was being carried out in the heart of Europe. I wondered what I could do to help. I had been a part-time sports reporter in college, so I thought maybe I could become a journalist and help raise awareness. It wasn't terribly obvious that covering the Yale women's volleyball team prepared me perfectly to become a war correspondent. But sometimes, as many of you know, you have to take a leap of faith. Now, I wish I could say that the rest is history, but life doesn't quite work that way. There are lots of bumps along the way, lots of trying and failing, and a few bouts of failing to try. Nonetheless, the most important moment for me, and I dare say the most important moment for you, is the first one. The moment you decide that though the odds are against you, you're going to offer whatever you have, your voice, your time, your creativity, your skills, your determination to try to help people. When I worked as a journalist overseas, I spent a lot of time thinking about the people in Washington who might be reading my articles. I hope that readers, and especially those in positions of power, would be moved by the stories of Bosnian kids being shot at while they jumped rope, or of Rwandan mothers huddled into churches trying to protect their families. I imagined important decisions being made behind closed doors and policymakers springing magically into action. I thought that they had all the power. Later, after I had the opportunity to meet and hear from Washington decision makers, I came to understand not only the role of journalists, but also the role of citizens, the role of civil society, the role of your voice. I heard their perspective. It turns out you have the power. And that rings even more true today. Today, ordinary citizens don't just advocate for change and action, they force change, and they take action themselves. Invisible Children doesn't just lobby policymakers to go after the LRA, they do that, and they do it well. But they also design flyers that tell LRA fighters how they might defect. And they distribute them, more than 400,000 flyers so far, into LRA-affected areas in DRC and the Central African Republic. Invisible Children has also built 6 locally run FM radio stations in areas of high LRA activity. These stations now reach an audience covering more than 29,000 square miles. And if you've ever doubted that your activism matters, just think that the Coney video you made go viral was sent by high school kids in Massachusetts to their senator, who joined with his colleagues to write a law that President Obama signed to create a rewards program to apprehend Coney and his thugs. And a few months ago, that senator from Massachusetts, now Secretary of State John Kerry, announced that thanks to that law, thanks to you, the State Department was offering the first cash rewards to bring the LRA killers to justice. That's you. You. This new kind of activism is visible so many places on so many of today's most critical issues. An army of citizen activists policed the conduct of the recent Kenyan elections, using the tools of the web to monitor hate speech and document fraud in an effort to prevent a repeat of the significant violence that we've seen there. In a region, the Arab world, that barely knew democracy as recently as 3 years ago, we see tens of millions of people moving governments and, at times, removing them, driven by that universal desire to have their voices heard. At a time of economic uncertainty, we see tens of thousands taking to the streets in Russia and beyond because they're no longer willing to turn a blind eye to corruption or to accept the growing inequalities in their own societies. And then there is Malala, a name that will be forever synonymous with dignity and bravery. Now 16, Malala Yousafzai was shot in the head on her way home from school in Pakistan, where she'd advocated for the rights of girls to have the same education as boys and advocated to stand up against extremism. Let us pick up our books and pens, she argued last month at the UN. They are our most powerful weapons. What Malala didn't say, because she's so modest, is that the most powerful weapon of all is her. It's you. It's the next generation that is unencumbered by 68 years of doing things a certain way, but that still feels deeply connected to the same urgency, the same vision, the same belief that drove the creation of the UN. Peace. But the new tools that make progress possible, as you know, can also be used to hold it back. Those who seek to repress their own people and to export hate and fear are as savvy as this next generation of human rights activists. Since 2002, 20 countries have introduced new restrictions on the freedom of civil society groups to operate, learning from one another in a global marketplace of ideas that shares the bad as well as the good. That's why we need your positive moral vision more than ever. We need your vision of justice to win over those who fear it. We need your vision of freedom to overwhelm those who rely on repression. We need your vision of equality and tolerance to overcome those who propagate division and terror. And we need you to act so that that vision, your vision, prevails. You're not just activists. You're leaders. You're diplomats. And we who have the privilege to serve in government can learn a lot from watching you. I take 3 lessons from you back to Washington about what matters. First, what matters are results. Everything else is just noise. Invisible Children could have gotten self-satisfied that 2 million people watched its Coney 2012 video and that they were thrust into the limelight globally. But this new generation understands that the video is not what matters. The number of Twitter followers is not what matters. These are just means to an end. Indeed, Invisible Children is just a means to an end. It's just an organization with a cause. What matters is the real-world scoreboard. And the scoreboard doesn't measure hits or tweets any more than it measures the number of times the Security Council meets on an issue. The scoreboard measures whether more LRA soldiers are defecting and whether fewer people are dying. You just heard that the Ugandan-led, US-supported operations and Invisible Children's efforts have helped reduce the LRA's killing of civilians by more than 90%. That's what counts. This focus on results, this clarity of conviction about why we do what we do every day, it's needed at the UN, and it's needed as a benchmark for our diplomacy. Second, what matters to us in government is our partnership with you. We need your voices and energy, we need your ideas and your sense of mission, we need your activism and your action. And since the most sustainable and effective policies are those with public support, your activism enables us to do more. Often when President Obama meets with activists, even with those who are his critics, he thanks them for expanding the base of political support for a just foreign policy. After all, without you, it's not at all obvious that there'd be such strong bipartisan support for sending US military advisors to Central Africa to help defeat a warlord. That's not obvious. It's not obvious that the United States would be the world's most generous supporter of life-saving medications for people living with HIV/AIDS. It's not obvious. But for all of the polarization and disagreements in Washington, people largely agree on the importance of promoting human rights and human dignity around the world. This shared commitment, reinforced and strengthened by your engagement, gives us diplomats the kind of political capital that we need. It enables us to push back against those who would have us disengage or look the other way. Third, what matters are individuals. We need a people-centered foreign policy. We have to escape the bubbles that we create and that we inhabit and find ways to hear from the individuals whose lives our policies touch. The refugee who flees the violence in Syria as the Security Council fails to respond. The villager in eastern DRC who depends on the UN's largest peacekeeping mission for protection in a country suffering from a decades-long conflict. The parents who lose a baby boy or girl to a preventable disease. When you become the ambassador to the United Nations, experts set to work preparing you for your new job. There are consultations with diplomats, government officials, and issue experts. This week, I added a few new kinds of consultations. In my first day on the job, I went down the street to meet with young refugees from Tibet, Ivory Coast, and Benin, among other countries. They shared their stories of fleeing home and arriving wide-eyed in the United States of America. I also took advantage of the technologies that you all use every day, and I convened a Google Hangout with activists from Cambodia, Egypt, Mexico, and Uganda who gave me their ideas for how the United States can stand with them. These individual voices, these voices, are the voices that should be heard in the halls of power, whether in the Security Council of the United Nations or in the Situation Room of the White House. These are the voices I will carry with me every day as I go to work. When I first embarked upon a life of advocacy, I had no idea where it would take me. I didn't know whether I could make a difference, and I'm sure many of you are having the same thought here this weekend, as excited as you are, wondering what your place in all of this is. There were bright spots along the way that kept me going, gave me a little confidence, a thoughtful response from a reader of something that I had written, the opportunity to press a policymaker directly on an important cause. But like many, I also had to fight the urge to become overwhelmed by the grim news that we read every day. The weight of the task, the weight of your task, can just feel too large sometimes. But this week, as I take up my new job, I am the very grateful beneficiary of your energy and your optimism. And I'm committed to working together on what matters. Real results for real individuals in the real world. Individuals who look to the United States and look to the United Nations for the elusive peace and security, prosperity, and dignity that drove the creation of the UN and my father-in-law's handwritten prayer on April 25th, 1945. The work the founders of the UN began is yours now. It is your time and your turn to breathe new life into the issues that inspired them and into the institution they created, to demand more of it, to make it work better, to build the world that we envision. I want to hear from you about what matters, the issues that ignite your passion, your efforts to deliver the impact that we all crave, what you need and want the United States to stand for in the world. So, tweet me, Facebook me, Instagram me. These are all totally new concepts to me, by the way, just for the record. Let me know what you think really matters and use the hashtag #WhatMatters so I see it. It is the courage and creativity of those in this room and young people everywhere that gives me hope that we too can accomplish great things united. Thank you so much.
So amazing. I love you so much. Thank you. Oh, you guys, live! Wow. Just live! You guys, you want to stand over there? Thank you, Ambassador Power.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful.
You guys,
I used to not think that God made perfect people. I'm very wrong tonight.
Justice has a new face, and it is perfectly symmetrical and red and just right.
Wow.
So we've got more coming tonight, people, so just stay seated.
Don't worry, we have that
Breathe.
on the live stream so you can go home and watch it over and
right,
over
that was important.
and over.
So, I don't know how to move on. Okay. What we're going to do right now is very, very special, but let me set it up for a minute. So if you know, the Fourth Estate Summit symbol is permanently on my arm.
Yeah,
and
turn up the lights. Who has the symbol on their body tattooed?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me explain.
Dozens.
So
how many?
If you notice, there's a olive branch and an eagle feather, or wing, eagle wing. And what that means is the olive branch means peace, and the eagle wing means action. We know we all want peace, but what a lot of people forget is that it's very hard work to bring about peace. We don't forget that. You guys do not forget that. Ambassador Power does not forget that. So we have created 2 awards, the Peace Award and the Action Award, to recognize people who have done just that.
And we're going to give them out tonight. Individuals who represent global citizenship, human rights, and obviously, Fourth Estate. Because as we know, everyone in this room, I'm convinced, wants peace. But in order to achieve that, we need justice, we need equality, we need freedom, but most of all, we need action. We need action. And so that's what we're giving out tonight first, the Action Award, Fourth Estate 2013.
So now we have the privilege to introduce you to who we're going to give it to. It's an incredible individual that many of you already know. This is him. Check it out.
There are many things that make CJ Campbell like other 25-year-olds. He loves Fight Club, spoken word poetry, Bono, and eating falafels. His favorite book is The Prophet, and he likes watching House of Cards. But these things aside, CJ is unlike any other 25-year-old that we've had the pleasure to know. Cerebral palsy has confined CJ to a wheelchair since childhood, but he has never allowed his past to hinder his future. After initially getting involved with Invisible Children after seeing a screening of The Rough Cut, CJ has been a faithful Invisible Children supporter, beating all physical and monetary odds in order to attend our events. He does not define himself by his disability, but defines himself by the impact he can make in the lives of others.
Hello everybody and welcome to Cerebral Conversations Episode 1. I'm your host CJ Campbell.
He hosts a weekly YouTube show about disability liberation and integration called Cerebral Conversations.
To know that each and every day there's a mission before you to take part in creating a world, and what do you want to use your hands for? I choose to use my hands for this.
He volunteers twice a week in the drug and alcohol recovery program at his local rescue mission.
A young man is walking from Rockford to Evanston to raise awareness for a local nonprofit. CJ Campbell is his name.
In August 2012, CJ Campbell relied on his crutches and wheelchair to walk 75 miles, raising over $1,100 for an organization that provides housing for the disabled. He gives back to his community and uses his life experience to inspire and motivate others to action. He embodies the ethos of Fourth Estate and represents everything Invisible Children stands for by persevering through circumstances that seem insurmountable. He knows that in order to achieve peace, there must first be action. Fourth Estate is proud to present the 2013 Action Award to CJ Campbell.
CJ, this is for you. As you guys know, he has dedicated his life. He has obstacles in his life that give him every excuse not to serve others, and his entire identity is service. As his entire identity, everyone knows him because of how he loves others.
My very dear brothers and sisters, my life started with a heartbeat, and then my life was changed by a heartbeat, by my brother who said, I have a beeping heart and I'm invisible. Our mission is to make that which is invisible the most important. There's 250 beeping hearts left, waiting to come home. Beyond the hype of all of this, we need to remember that love will not be defeated. zeroLRA.
He's been with us for 8 years. 8 years ago, he saw The Rough Cut, and he's been with us the whole time. And you could tell that his heart is here, but it's also there. He also feels it. I want you to imagine leaving tomorrow on Sunday, getting on the plane, going back to your own state, going back to your own country, wherever that might be around the globe, and landing there, and as you arrive to your home that night, there might be an abduction. There might be a kidnapping, a killing of your neighbors or someone of your family. This war is not over. You know that. You know it the most. There is someone that we have the privilege to know. And for years and years, this man had the opportunity to do something. And he did. Check it out.
The first time in LRA came, they abducted 60 youngsters. Some of my relatives have been abducted and others were killed too. I decided to go to school. I wanted to improve my English and come back to help the local people communicate with the foreigners easily so that they can get help.
Before we arrived in Banda, we were told that that community was totally safe and that there hadn't been an LRA attack there for over 9 months. And when we arrived, we found that the situation was completely different. There was an attack 5 days before we arrived and 2 days before that.
At midnight, LRA came, 9 of them. Then the LRA fled away with the 3 children. They are still in the bushes and no one knows where they are by now. What happened over 15 kilometers, if there were a means of communication, soldiers should have known it at night and they should have gone there at the same time. It is the list of invisible children we got here at Banda. Since the LRA came and since soldiers came and began to fight the LRA in this area, children they bring out of the bushes, then we keep them on the list.
So does anyone in Dungu know that these attacks happen?
No. I think he will be the one who will be telling it there.
It was extremely insecure and an extremely hostile environment. The whole community was living in fear. And we knew that protection was needed in that community. And so we took the list that Kunanbangate gave us and we shared it with whoever would listen in Washington and to all of our supporters. And people rallied and they fundraised. And at the first 4th Estate, we were able to unveil the first HF radio project in that region in Banda. We're reshaping what the solution to this conflict looks like. Nothing like this exists right now. The funds that we raised in the spring allowed all of this to happen.
Because there was no means of communication, that's the reason why they stayed here overnight, doing as they were willing. But today, I don't think they will be able to repeat the same behavior because we have the high-frequency radio now. The community is grateful to the 4th Estate participants because of all of what they are doing so that we can fight together to get rid of the LRA.
Over the last few years, 4th Estate members have shown a tireless commitment to supporting protection efforts in the region, allowing us to expand dramatically. Banda now has an HF radio where they can report sightings and attacks by the LRA on a daily basis, and it's safer now than it has been in years. But Kunanbangate and his community have a commitment to reaching out to the LRA to encourage them to come out. They still have community members who are with the LRA.
Today we're meeting with the community to update them on the final stages of the installation of the FM tower here, and the LRA use this area to move between Balwele and the Central African Republic. So we're going to be getting messages out to those groups from former combatants, encouraging them to come home.
We know for a fact that the LRA are listening to what we're saying. Almost 90% of returnees pointed to come home messaging through radio as influencing their decision to defect.
I'm sure if they get the message and if there is the opportunity for them to escape, they will come back.
It's been incredible to see the transformation in communities like Banda, where local leaders like Kunanbangate have joined forces with members of the Fourth Estate, showing a commitment to lasting peace, to an end to this conflict.
Now people live in peace because they have the news that it seems they are not closer. Everybody are sleeping peacefully at night.
Our involvement in the community of Banda has really rested on the shoulders of Kunanbangate. And on our last trip to Banda, we were able to deliver some really exciting news.
I want to present this invitation to Mr. Kunanbangate.
I've got an incredible invitation.
Good evening, young people, young people of the Fourth Estate. My name is Kunanbangate Benapaingba. To make it easy, you can just say Kun. When you say Kun, it is easier than Kunanbangate, right? Okay, I'm from Banda, one of the affected village by the Lord Resistance Army in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was really positively impressed by your invitation. When I got your invitation, inviting me to the leadership summit here in the state. I've never gone out of my small village since I was born. So it's my first time to go out to see big towns like Kampala, like Amsterdam, like Los Angeles in the US. It's really a great thing. I thank you very much again, and I'm deeply impressed by the way you are working together, you young people of the United States, to fight, to try to end the atrocities of the Lord Resistance Army all over the world. I remember Mr. Ben Kezi, as I'm speaking, he is looking to my village because he has been there, even though it is too far. I call upon all of you not to forget him, Ben Kezi, Adam, Patrick Munduga, Ashley, and who else? Sean, and many others who have come to my village. They are all your workers because since you sit together and decide they humiliate themselves to come to the remotest villages in order to set HF radio so that the news of LRA, you know, I assure you that at the present time, LRAs are afraid in my village of attacking people so often because they know once they attack, the news will spread out and soldiers can follow them right away. That's the reason why we've got peace. My local village now is greatly secured than ever. I thank you very much. I think that's all. May I add? Okay, I think I will not forget taking home all the good things I've seen throughout what you are doing. I appreciate your good understanding and how you work together in order to put an end to that waste situation, waste problem, LRA, killing our children, and it is really incredible when I see that LRA come, an old man kill him for nothing, and thanks to your contribution to set up HF radios, and now you are about to set up FM radio in our village. People, my community has thanked you very much. I think we see all.
I was with Kunanbangate and Banda 2 years ago when there had just been attacks near the community days before. And it was a trying time for you and your whole community. And it is such a privilege to stand on this stage now, knowing that Banda is the safest that it's been for years because of your leadership and our partnership.
Thank you.
But we all know at the same time that the end of violence is the beginning of the process to peace. And the process of recovery and of development and of rehabilitation is just as important. The next story we're able to share tonight is the story of an amazing young woman who's one of the thousands in the post-conflict areas where the LRA is no more that has been able to progress through that and do amazing things in her life. This is the story of an incredible young woman named Collines.
There's so much we can do to make our home, our country, and this world a better place. It takes taking action as an individual. No tomorrow has better things for you.
The youth of Uganda have so much in them, but they just don't know, and I've always dreamt of becoming an empowerment leader. I'm from Malatar in northern Uganda. I come from a family of 6. I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. My mom and I are so close because I'm her eldest daughter. She just really relies a lot on me, and she tells me every day that her children are my children. I am the one they're looking up to right now. I like to be like my mom. I like to be strong and persevere through hard times. My family and I had to move every day to go sleep around the town areas where the LRA would not get us. We night commuted for 2 years. We would be talking about the LRA the whole day. A teacher comes in class and they're just talking to us about how to escape from attacks. For the most part, school was about how to be safe and not anything academic. My dad, he was very, very nice. He loved us so much, and he wanted the best for us. He always told me that I was going to be a great person in future. He always told me, you have to work hard in school because that is what is going to make you a successful person. He suffered so much when he got sick. He had wounds everywhere and was in so much pain. And I was talking to him and I was crying, and he asked me, are you going to take care of my family? I was like, you're going to be there to take care of your family. He's like, no, you're going to take care of your sisters. You're going to take care of your mom. And we went back to where we would sleep. And we came back the next morning. I wasn't there. That was the beginning of the struggle for us. I knew then I wasn't going to go back to a good school. And I knew then that my mom was going to have to go through so much. That was just a really difficult time. He told me that education was the only thing that was going to make me achieve success. And that is why I worked so hard. And I always wanted to study. I always wanted to be successful like he wanted because I felt I was living his dream. I heard about Invisible Children in 2008 and then applied to become a beneficiary of Invisible Children in 2009 and got the scholarship. I was screaming that I'm going to the university, and I was crying and my mom was crying and we were jumping everywhere. For me, when I got the scholarship, it was me going to school and working to become the person that I wanted to become, successful. But when I watched the movie Together We Are Free, I saw how the youth in America worked for children in northern Uganda. Someone is doing all these things to make sure the world know about the kind of horrible atrocities the LRA is committing. And I just remembered saying, I want to be part of something like that. So I went to the US and I worked as a roadie.
The war is not about to end unless people like you, people like us, stand up and speak. You need to use your voice today.
Being a roadie changed my understanding of being a global citizen. You're meeting with thousands of people sometimes in a day, and I'm like, I think this is how the world is supposed to be. Everyone looking out for everyone. It doesn't matter if it is your neighbor or it is someone from a totally different part of the world. I just finished my degree from Gulu University. I'm really happy because that makes me one of the less than 1% of women in northern Uganda who attend university education today. If I hadn't gotten in the Invisible Children Legacy Scholarship Program, my life would be so different right now. I probably would have been married now with maybe 5 children. I would not have known the importance of working on development for my community and my country. I work as the Director of Operations for Hope for Humans that is working to take care of children with nodding syndrome. Nodding syndrome is a neurological disease. The cause is not yet known. The cure is not known. It started in Uganda back when people still lived in the camps. It's affecting over 7,000 children in northern Uganda. All these children who are affected with nodding disease are mentally disordered. Their growth is stunted. Most of them get several seizures in a day. They keep falling and they keep hurting themselves. I believe these children deserve the same kind of treatment like every other child. I've become so close to the children at our center, and I've particularly become close to this girl called Jenny. She has the most beautiful smile. When we got Jenny in the center, she would not say any word. Like when you're talking to her, she would just be nodding and shaking her head. And one time I stayed for 3 weeks without going to the center because I was doing exams. And when I reached, of course, I was looking out for Jenny. I greeted every other kid and I was like, "Hey, Jenny, how are you?" like I usually do. And she said, "I'm fine." And I was like, "What? Wait, no, did she just talk?" And the teachers told me, "Yes, now she can say I'm fine." And I just could not believe it. I just think it's magical that she's starting to talk and she's getting out of her seizures and she's laughing and chasing and playing with every other kid like she's a normal kid. Seeing them get better is the best part of it. Like just knowing we're not doing what we're doing for nothing. I think my dad is so proud of me. I think this is what he wanted. My father wanted me to be educated, and now I am educated. My father wanted me to take care of my siblings. I am taking care of my siblings, and he wanted me to take care of my mother, and I'm taking care of my mother. And my father believed in hard work, and I try as much as I can to work hard to live his dream. My name is Collines Angwech. I am 4th Estate. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It feels so crazy being here, being a part of this conference that, I don't know, listening to all these powerful, passionate world changers, ambassadors. For me, it just really feels crazy, and standing there watching the video of myself, it got me remembering this one day when I was still 11, and I was tired of leaving my home and going every night to look for a safe place to sleep, and I stubbornly got my siblings to refuse going, and I just told them, "Let's sleep home, it's going to be fine." And in the middle of the night, my cousins came and they were like, "Hey, you guys, could you please wake up? Looks like the LRA is around home. Let's go to the nearest jungle and look for refuge." And we walked out. It was raining, and really the LRA was near because they were burning the nearest radio station from our home. And we walked in the rain and went to the nearest jungle. It was raining, it was wet, and it was so cold. And I remember sitting under this tree, and I just started crying and asking myself so many questions. And I was asking if that situation would ever change. I was asking myself, will things ever be different? Will we ever worry about being abducted or waking up in the morning and going and worrying that when I come back home, will I find my parents? Will I find my mother? Will my siblings make it back home safe? The LRA was so intense in my community that we did not have a life of our own. And I was asking, what happened to the rest of the world? Do they even know what we're going through? Does someone know that this has to stop? Is anyone doing anything about it? And that is why being here today, being educated, and speaking to you guys just really feels so different. And I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to Jason wherever he is. And I know Bobby might be somewhere there in the crowd, and Lauren and Jolie for seeing the situation in northern Uganda and saying, this is not right. We have to do something.
They made us their friends and they promised themselves that we're going to do something, we're going to change this, we're going to help our friends. And they did something. They changed what was going on in northern Uganda into a documentary, and they presented it to whoever cared to listen to them. And I know most of you that are in this room probably heard about Invisible Children because of the documentary that they made or a video that you saw from their trip there. And I even know that one of the persons that I respect so much, the CEO of Invisible Children, Mr. Ben Kizi, also learned about this because of the video that he saw. And he went back into his room and he came back the next time. He was like, what can I do? And because of that question, because of that one question, the education program that has sent me to school was made possible. I am standing here today to represent thousands of children in northern Uganda that are going to school because of his question, because you saw the movie and said, this is not right. I cannot be living in a class and then someone is fearing to be abducted, going to class and talking about how their family members were abducted yesterday, and you did something. You sent us to school, and because you did that, we've forgiven what happened to us for 20 years, and we decided to dream and think of becoming world changers. And you never know what you're doing and what it will impact on people. Because you sent me to school, I'm making my father's dream a reality, and I'm working with this organization called Hope for Humans that is taking care of children with nodding syndrome. Because you gave me a chance, I am being their voice. Today, I can stand here and say my family is safe. Northern Uganda is safe. But the one thing that has not left me is that the feeling that I had when I was 11 years old in that jungle. I know that there is an 11-year-old child in the jungle in Central African Republic, in Sudan, and in Congo that is wondering if their situation will ever change, if anyone know about them. And that has not left us. We know their situation. I know that she is crying right now. We know that it's not right and it has to change. And that is why today, in this big hall, I just want to thank you for standing strong for me and encourage you to go stronger than we've never gone before. Let's go wild. I am tired of hearing about the LRA. Let's unite our voices. Let's come together and stand for a zero LRA world. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Collins. Hey, y'all. You guys are pumped. I was not supposed to jump on stage tonight, but I did because I tied Jason and Jet up, I threw them in the basement, and I said, forget it, I'm back. Because I have something important to tell you and to introduce. In the storytelling business, some people rise up and they use their influence to tell the most powerful stories on earth, to tell truths, to tell the stories of current injustices. I know one man who fits this description. My good friend, I'm sorry, we don't have Morgan Freeman? Excuse me, who do we have? We got John? I'll take him. All right, here's John Cheetos. I'm sorry, my very good friend, Don Cheadle.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The world that we see around us is often filled with the courageous actions of individuals who step up during times of challenge and surpass anyone's realistic expectations of them. And those courageous individuals, more often than not, derive from places where courageous actions are sorely needed, but sadly lacking. Places where there can be a high price to pay for choosing to distinguish yourself and stand on the side of right. Individuals such as these, irrespective of praise or lack of compensation, despite their own difficult circumstances, rise above the rest and find the strength necessary to be a hero amongst their peers. In areas of the world like northeastern Congo, where peace and security are not always afforded to citizens by their governments, it falls on volunteer community leaders like Kunanbangate to stand up and to rise to the occasion. Kunanbangate is the founder of the Invisible Children Early Warning Radio Network in Banda, and he is chiefly responsible for the life-saving expansion of this program to his community. As an actor, as a father, as a citizen of this world who is enormously thankful for those who are willing to stare down adversity and fight for justice, it is my deep honor and privilege to present this year's Fourth Estate Peace Award to Kunanbangate Belaha.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Cheadle, thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have an exciting announcement. We have some results in from you, okay? From you. You have written on your commitment cards, you have told us what you want to fundraise, but that's not the announcement yet. The announcement is how much money we have raised in the last 48 hours online as a community of Fourth Estate 2013. You in this room set up fundraising pages, and you collectively have reached a goal as of 5 minutes ago, $28,340. You did it. You did it. So, the truth is we will have 25,000 flyers with Fourth Estate 2013 printed on them flying over the LRA territory. And I'm sure that someone will pick that up and defect and escape and come home and be rehabilitated and be reunited.
You all know very well that because of you, that is why we do what we do. We could not do it if you people were not being very supportive. So our goal was 25,000, and now
We have raised 28,000. So we are going to do the drop for the flyers, but at Invisible Children, I think some people have talked to you why we do what we do. Empowering people is the most important, and education is key. And because of your contributions, we at Invisible Children, I'm honored to award Kun a scholarship because he has 1 year in the university. Imagine at his age, he has grandchildren. He has been struggling to go to school, but he cannot finish because he doesn't have the money. So he has 1 year in the university, and because of that, I am here to award Mr. Kun a scholarship for the 1 year in the university. So Kun,
with the excess of your money, you're sending him to school. You just put him in school. All of you. That's what you did.
So, yes. So, within the short time that we have been together, we have fundraised, we are able to bring in more formerly abducted back home, but the excess of this is going to help the only person, I have to be honest, I grew up with Joseph Kony, the only person who took records of kids who have been abducted by the LRA. I think you have seen it, so we want to help him and go to school. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jolie and Kun, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Let's dance later. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
I'm telling you, it is possible to die from too much inspiration.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to believe it.
You guys are getting serious glute workouts. So, you've given us your pledge cards, and we've done some math. God knows it wasn't me, but we have done math. Yeah. Let's be honest. And this is what we've discovered. The average pledge was $1,370, which is amazing. That's through December. Some of you were a bit lower. Some of you went way higher. The highest pledge was $40,000, and I kind of want to know who that is. The total pledged from you people in this room from this weekend is $2,041,536. But that's going to take a lot of work.
You know, they fundraise, they know what's up. It's not easy. It's messy. You throw up sometimes, but it's fun. It's always fun.
So it all came down to this. You commit, you decided, and you put it on the line. And so now it's up to us to commit to zeroLRA. So what we want to do is we want to show you some of the awesome, we're calling them incentives, but the things when you actually reach goals in your fundraising, things happen, okay? It like makes it way more fun to fundraise because it's like, you guys know.
Yeah.
So when you raise $100, you will be highlighted on our website as an escape partner. So your name will be on our website, which is pretty awesome.
When you get 250, you will get an exclusive zeroLRA t-shirt sent to your home. Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets crazy. If you raise $1,000, your name will be spoken on the radio that's broadcasting across all of Central Africa. So the LRA will hear your name.
What's the next one? Here it is. Your name will be engraved on a plaque displayed at the early warning headquarters in the DRC Congo.
Forever.
Forever.
Eternity.
Like it'll be on a plaque.
If you raise $5,000, you'll be automatically, all those other things happen, and then you will also be automatically coming back next year to Fourth Estate.
10,000 you receive, yes. $10,000 if you fundraise, you receive 1 free pass to the 2014 4th Estate Summit and an all-expense-paid trip to Invisible Children's holiday benefit show.
Which
So
Kenny is making huge.
It's going to be big
amazing.
this year.
Now, some of you are really going big, and here's the thing: when you get your whole community together,
yeah,
it gets big.
Yeah, this is for real.
This is like basically funding your own flyer drop. Yeah. You get 4th Estate next year, and you're going to Uganda with us, which you know is amazing.
Yeah.
So
see all the
push
programs.
for it. You can do this.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have, throughout the years at Invisible Children, believe it or not, we've raised over $50 million. But unlike the vast majority of international human rights organizations or international NGOs, 85% of that money has come from small individual donations and sales, primarily from young people. That puts us in a unique category. And we've seen throughout these 8 years, we know it is incredibly difficult to raise that money, but we're here to support you. Okay, our entire team, our entire staff, from Jason, Jed, myself, and our entire team throughout our San Diego office, our Uganda office, our Congo office is behind you because, frankly, you guys, we need it. Last year, we spent $7 million between our protection and recovery programs in Congo and Uganda. That is what has produced the results that we've talked about for the last 3 days. The amazing presentation from Adam and Patrick that we went through for 30 minutes, the conversation around 93% reduction in killing, 67% decline in abduction. That's the outcome of a strategy that is working, but that needs to be continued. And so if we raise this money, here's a few things that will happen. One is we intend to double the locations of the early warning security network. Double it. We intend to do a series over a couple dozen tactical speaker missions, helicopter speaker missions, and flyer drops. And we intend to continue to expand the FM capability to message into the LRA. Okay? And here's why. Never before in the history of the conflict have we been able to set ourselves up for a full surrender of the remaining LRA fighters. And here's how it's possible. If and when Joseph Kony gets captured, and we have this architecture in place, we broadcast immediately across that vast area where all the LRA is, the war is over. And within a matter of days or weeks, not a long time, that is how we will actually message into those remaining fighters and the captive women and children, how they can escape, how they can come home. Okay?
Let's do it.
But we know it's hard. We have a few months. You have the resources of this organization, and I know we can do it. Here's why. Since the beginning, we have always believed in pursuing peace and justice. That started with Joseph Kony, but we all know it's bigger than that. And when we achieve zeroLRA and the captive women and children are home for the state, the sky is the limit. So, with that, this is the campaign, zeroLRA. Check it out.
They're off. And Popular Finland, number 208, getting into an early lead.
In 1954, it was agreed that no one could run a mile in less than 4 minutes flat. It was called the 4-minute barrier. Many had tried to beat this record and failed, and so it was set, the human limit. Until one day that year, when a man named Roger Bannister crossed the finish line in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. And what was once deemed impossible suddenly wasn't. He pushed the human race forward simply by believing he could. And yet Bannister's record only lasted 46 days, when another man did the same, and then another, and thousands more since. Because when Bannister proved what could be done, it was instantly the standard. Throughout history, humanity has pushed itself farther, faster, and harder until we reached our limit. And then someone comes along and proves that wasn't the limit at all. And yet we continue to draw new lines in the sand. But there are those like Roger Bannister who need to cross it, mostly because they've been told they can't. We are here because we are those people. Today there are 250 kidnapped fighters holding captive 140 women and 72 children, and forcing 440,000 people to evacuate their homes. This fall, we will fight for the women and children held hostage in Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army to achieve zeroLRA and prove that extreme crimes of injustice can be stopped. It will take messages from home, safe escape points, rescue operations, and family reunions. We are committed until we achieve 0 kidnapped fighters, 0 women and children held hostage, and 0 forced to evacuate their homes. We have been told that conflicts like these will always go on. You have been told that you can't make a difference or affect history, but we believe that change is possible and that the problems of today do not have to be the problems of tomorrow. The 4-minute mile is no longer the barrier, it is the standard. Now is the time to prove that extreme crimes of injustice can be stopped, and can be stopped again and again and 1,000 times over. zeroLRA is our line in the sand, and it's one final sprint away.
You guys,
take a deep breath. Just breathe it in. Wow.
I'm not even over CJ.
No, I'm not over the ambassador either.
So there's a bit more going on this stage.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you.
So if you have to go to the bathroom, just hold it.
Hold it. But we want to give you some marching orders because once we're off the stage, things are going to happen. So we got to tell you some stuff first. You got it?
So you were given a departure ticket and time for tomorrow morning. Be sure to follow that time to get to your flight on time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Because we don't want you to become like the weird Hobbit people who live underneath UCLA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like have an alarm or tell your friend to wake you up if you're really tired because you want to be on that flight. You want to make it there.
So this weekend has been exhausting, I know. God bless you, I know. But there have been a lot of people that have worked very, very hard to make this experience perfect for you. And we just want to say thank you for them.
Yeah. So it's literally the entire summit team. Like for what you guys don't know, what's crazy, we get back to the office and there's about 80 people who never stepped into this room. They never saw one presentation, not one video, not one thing. I'm like, what? I start yelling at them and they're like, we were setting up everything else. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is so much. And you see them, they're in the black shirts and they have worked so hard and they are the summit team. They are the Royce team who has done an incredible job at making the show happen, and the production team that has set up every band, all the common exchange, all the banners, all the things. It's like mind-blowing what they've done.
Let's give them, it's so amazing. I hope you guys have loved it.
Crazy. Now, there's one person, there's so many people, there's like 12 people who are in charge, but there's like one person who literally is like, I can't even describe it, and I want to bring her out. Her name is Andrea, and she runs.
She does not want to come out here.
She needs to come. She has
She
got
made it
to
all
come
happen.
out on the stage and take a bow.
She literally
This is
made
the
this
one who
weekend
did it.
happen.
No
This
one
is
knows.
Andrea.
Take a bow. Get up here.
She was an intern, a roadie, a team leader.
Like, this is the one that got Rocky and Sudhya here, okay? This is the one who made all those videos happen. This is the one And she's so calm, and I'm like backstage, like, what's going on? And she's like, it's okay, we got this. And she hasn't slept for 7 months. So I said, you can sleep for 3 days straight.
You will die of inspiration. She will just die.
Yeah.
But we love you. Thank you.
Andrea,
for
we
giving
love
it
you.
to them.
You did it. You did it.
And from we want to thank Kristen Bell's prize here. We want to thank the grant that paid for all of it. I mean, this thing is insane. And the artists, the dancers, the musicians, the speakers, everyone is donating their time to make this beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's better than the Oscars.
Yeah.
That's why we had to give awards. I was like, this is way better than the Oscars.
So, here we are. We're at the end of this journey. I know. Don't worry, there's still a dance. But we're at the end of being in a room together with all the faces, with all of the names. I've met people from Mexico, from China, from Idaho. Your stories have impacted my life so much. The letters, the things you've told me, it's overwhelming. And I can guarantee you I'll be mowing my lawn in a week and still crying about who you are. Because what you don't know is that Jed and I truly know you. We study you. We see your Instagrams. We see your faces.
We like your Instagrams.
Yeah. We know you.
I have powerful thumbs.
And we talk about how inspired we are because of who you are.
There are so many moments that I will never, ever forget from just seeing you guys backstage when we were about to give CJ the award, and we said, CJ, do you want to say something, or do you just want to accept? And he goes, I just like to say just something for 30 seconds. And like, you just never know what someone's going to say. And so I'm like, well, what do you want to say? And he just starts crying. And he's like, 8 years ago when I saw the rough cut, the LRA seemed so big and so impossible. And today, it's 250 fighters. And he's crying. And it just reinforced to me that he is an example of all of you. This room, I mean, every speaker, every dancer, every person, as soon as they go off stage, they go, I have never felt energy like that. And it is true.
Yeah.
Because the goodness in your hearts, the fact that you have committed your time to be here is unparalleled, is so unusual, but is getting more usual every day because you being you is changing everything.
Now listen to this, and I don't want you to clap after this. Okay? I know, resist it. But listen, since we are on the topic of CJ, we go backstage and he says, honestly, I'm so honored to have this award. But in my heart of hearts, this award goes to Boney. He's the one that moved me to action. So I want you to send it to him. I want his name on it. I want it to be his. That's the truth. That's what he did. And that's what we're doing. That's the type of person CJ is. Even though it has his name on the award, he says, no, I don't want that in my house. I'm honored, but I want it to go to Boney. And there was this girl named Carly Palmer who's at the first 4th Estate in 2011. And I ran into her the day after 4th Estate. You're right here in the front row. Oh my goodness. Hi. I'm about to quote you, so get ready. And you're looking at each other because you're going to go home and your family is not going to understand. Like, they're just not.
How was the conference?
Yeah, how was it? And
you're like limping into the house.
I mean, and honestly, for some of you, that will be exciting. For others of you, you'll be frustrated because you're like, I can't explain it to you. I don't know what to tell you. And so this is what Carly said, which I thought was so profound because she was trying to explain it to her mom, what she had just experienced. And she said, I can't explain it to you. My actions and life will have to be the words. That's what she said. I'll repeat it. I know, right? How was the fourth estate? I can't explain it to you. My actions and life will have to be the words. I can't think of a better way to end the fourth estate. I mean, I hope you got your dance pants on, because it's going to get crunchy, it's going to get sweaty, cheesy, it's going to get smelly, nasty. Yeah, it is. I'm just saying it.
You guys, we've got one more video for you and a little something something. You guys are everything. This is the end. I will see you on the dance floor. You are the fourth estate. We love you.
Think for a moment about how you got here, not just on this planet. Be smaller for a moment. We gathered here, but we leave alone. Individual lives with individual purpose. And you might be afraid or overwhelmed by the size of that. Or maybe you worry that you are not remarkable enough. But you were among the few who made it here. And you are worthy. There is only one you, one vision, one life, and one chance to do something with all of it. And just leaving this building won't change a thing. That's your job. So don't think that the way the world is the way it must be. It's your turn to carry that torch, to realize you were born to ignite the world. And that doesn't end today. In fact, just the opposite. You are, and we are, fourth estate, and that has just begun.
theater. We are going to begin again from the top, okay? It was so good, why not watch it one more time, right? Okay, reset, reset, everyone's back. Back to the queue. How much time do we need? Because I can do some tricks on stage. Thumbs up when you're ready. You're ready.
Your mic broke. You guys, these are the choreographers. You guys, you broke it. He needs a new mic. He literally shattered it.
No, I'm back. Here.
Wow.
I'm back. Hi, guys.
My God. Okay,
Right.
you guys. That was amazing. That was for you, but this whole thing is for you to dance.
Now listen, here's the deal. You don't know, but there's a guy right here. It's his birthday. How many of you are 22 right now? Okay, he turned 22 today. What you just heard was his score. Yeah, he wrote that.
So this guy's name is Leland Cox. He's part of Hans Zimmer's program. Hans Zimmer asked him to write it for him. He sent it to Hans, and Hans said, I have no notes. It's perfect.
Oh.
And so now Fourth Estate has a theme song, and we're going to set it up. You can check Invisible Children's blog because we're going to get you the SoundCloud link for it so you guys can blast it in your car and weep. Okay?
But come on, wasn't the orchestra incredible? And we all know and love, they're like family to us, the LXG dancers! They crafted that original piece for us tonight. It's so stupid.
I mean, so now that you've seen some dancing, it's time for us all to dance. But before you guys leave here, and there will be people to lead you to the dance hall, which is huge, we're gonna just go crazy in here and dance now, okay?
Is that okay? Is that okay?
Are you ready?
It's because it's your night and it's your dance. That's
it's weird.
tear duct malfunction. Dancing, screaming, Samantha Power.
Oh my I don't know what Collins. So many. Oh my
We were
God.
weeping, we were dancing, we were shouting.
We have a bathroom back here, and we have run out of toilet paper and
Can you
what do you
see
call those?
this?
Hand cloths?
This is shock and cry face.
Go check out the new campaign, zeroLRA.
I don't even know.
None of it's working. That was amazing. We're losing it. Go set up a fundraising page. We raised $28,000 in 2 days.
Amazing. Fourth
Two
estate,
days.
you did it. We love
Hi,
you.
Krista.
We hope you're watching this tomorrow. Even when it's not live on YouTube, you can watch it on our channel.
We've got like how many hours of footage? Like
we should stop talking. This is really the end.
The world is a beautiful place.
real.
Let's protect it. Love you guys.
Let's go dance.
Let's go.
Let's
I'm
go
ready.
dance.
Bye.
See you guys. Peace.